Hey there, I just wanted to share Home Assistant with you. I've been using it for a couple of days. This is something that Brian has had much more experience with, and picked it up at his recommendation, and it is awesome. It's completely changed the way that I use Arduinos. So traditionally, when you wanted to use an Arduino, you would have to hook it up, flash it via USB, and anytime you ever needed to make any change, you'd have to get it from wherever it was or provide the USB cable or a port somewhere to hook the laptop up to it and to flash new code on it. Well, Home Assistant, you do that for the first time when you're using ESP now, or ESP Home, sorry, is what the ESPs are using that we're doing for this. And what you do is you hook it up with the USB for the first time, you flash it, and once you have flashed it, it now knows your network, and now you can push updates to it wirelessly. So you never have to physically have it in your hands again as long as it's on the network. So the first project I am working on is automating the air compressor to where I will never leave it on, and I will have different timers. I did not like the store-bought timers and having to use relays. I wanted to be able to do it all wirelessly. So right here, these are just testing times. Originally, or later, it will be 15 minutes, an hour, and so on. You turn one of them on, and the compressor is running. There's a timer. Once it's done, the auto drain kicks on, and it's done. You can also click these other. They will all reset one another, or they will reset themselves, or you click cancel, and it turns them all off. Here is the device for ESP Home. You can see all of the different devices. Right now I only have the one, but you can see that this has 12 entities. I will show you what those are here. Um, so when you first flash the ESP, it puts this in it by default. This allows you to it turns it into an access point if it loses Wi-Fi signal from your house. This says what it is, this gives it the name and everything. This hosts a web server, which I'll show for debugging. That just looks like this. So if you have any issues with anything, I use this for debugging it for the most part as I'm building the dashboards. And then you come and say, here are the GPIO pins for all of my outputs. I've got one for each button. You just tell it what pin number you want, and you can name it. So cancel, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. And if you do any changes, you click save, install, and click wirelessly, and it will push it off to it without you needing to be near it. And then you have our outputs right here to a relay and an auto drain relay. And then so I can retain virtual buttons here as well as the physical buttons on the Arduino, I've made 4 virtual buttons that work alongside with the automation. So that way I can activate it or deactivate it from either place, either computer, my phone, or on the physical board. When you go and look at the actual automation, I made one right here for air compressor. And what we have are all of the triggers, so all the buttons cancel, the virtual buttons, the virtual cancel, when the air compressor timer is finished, when the auto drain timer is finished, or I've also added a 4 a.m. auto drain in here for the neighbors and the cats out back. Here we go, right, for once these triggers are met, they will come down here for, let's say, 5-second button. When the 5-second button is pressed, you will get triggered. It will start the timer on the air compressor for 5 seconds. It will turn on the air compressor relay. Now, when that timer runs out, that causes another trigger. So we come here to air compressor timer finished. You come down back to the choose timer finished. It's triggered by it, turns it off, starts the auto drain, starts the auto drain timer, turns on the auto drain. So then this timer is running in the background, and when that timer finishes, auto drain timer finished, that has its own choice down here, which is auto drain timer finished. Click on that. When it's triggered, turn it off. So it's pretty easy. Once you learn the ins and outs of Home Assistant, the most complicated part is keeping your naming conventions consistent. It's very easy to do underscores or all caps for the first letter or spaces, and there's IDs and names and all sorts of stuff. That's the most confusing part. Once that's handled, it is pretty close to drag and drop for setting up automations.